And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week.
And as we continue with Independence Week celebrations, I hope that all of you are having a great time wherever you are. And I hope that each of us had an opportunity on Thursday to take a moment or two to reflect on the founders of this great nation and the fact that they sacrificed their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to secure the independence and freedom that we all cherish and enjoy. And last week we gave you a couple little vignettes about July 2nd versus July 4th, so I thought I'd just continue with a couple little tidbits of history, because a lot of people believe that the reason we celebrate Independence Day on July 4th is that that was the day that the Declaration was signed. It wasn't. It was the day it was officially adopted. John Hancock famously put his gigantic signature on the document that day, telling the Continental Congress two things. One, that he hoped that King George would be able to see it without his spectacles, and two, that they would surely have to hang together or they would all hang separately. That was amended a little bit by Benjamin Franklin on the floor. But July 4th remains the day on which we celebrate American independence, and it has a couple of historic, interesting facts. And one interesting fact is that 50 years to the day, 1826, two of the drafters of the Declaration passed away on the same day. Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, who had had somewhat of a tumultuous relationship through the years, but had patched that up later in life and had become good friends by correspondence, both died on that day. John Adams died saying Jefferson lives, but what he didn't know was that Jefferson had already passed away. And so his immortal words were just a little bit off, because communications weren't the same in 1826 as they are today. And then 5 years after that, another founder, James Monroe, passed away on July 4th. The only president born on July 4th, Calvin Coolidge, and a lot of other great Americans were on that same day. And across the country, at backyard barbecues and picnics and clam bakes and everything else, a lot of discussion about the presidential race and what has happened inside the Biden campaign as they try to play around with the debacle, the disaster, it wasn't just a debacle, of Joe Biden's performance in the debate last week. Now, what's fascinating is to hear the spin that they're now trying to put on that. Oh, he had a cold. Of course, we didn't hear about that prior to the debate. And then the latest, he was suffering from jet lag. Think about that. He'd been back over 10 days, had been over there at Camp David, huddled up with all these advisors and, folks preparing him for the debate, getting him ready for his great moment that he flubbed so badly. But he had jet lag. I've traveled across the pond a few times and I've had jet lag, but never for a week and a half. So, it just doesn't square up with reality. And that's the problem for the Biden campaign. The American people saw what they had believed or thought for a long time, but had been told wasn't true. Jean-Pierre was out there saying this was all a Republican conspiracy, and they were cobbling together little pieces and vignettes that weren't actually true, and all this nonsense to protect Joe Biden and to tell us that he was just perfectly okay. He obviously isn't, wasn't, and won't be. As I've said for many, many days, if it's this bad now, what would it be like in 4.5 years? It's not going to get better. And the three scariest words in the English language remain President Kamala Harris. Those of us that have enough gray hair to remember will recall Thomas Eagleton being chased off the Democratic ticket in 1972 for the vice presidential slot after it was revealed that he had undergone electric shock treatments for some mental conditions. That happened very, very quickly. And you saw the pressure that came and ultimately how fast it happened. And, it may happen again this time. Don't know, because Joe Biden is very stubborn and very arrogant, and his wife clearly doesn't want to leave the White House ever. So we'll have to see how that all turns out. But one of the people waiting in the wings is Gavin Newsom. You've heard an awful lot about him waging a surrogate candidacy, et cetera, et cetera. What would be really ironic about that is that Gavin Newsom's ex-wife is now betrothed to Donald J. Trump Jr. Wouldn't that make for an interesting conversation along the campaign trail? There's lots to come. It's going to be an exciting year. And next weekend, I will be in Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention, and the opportunity and really privilege to nominate Donald J. Trump for President of the United States for his re-election. I'm a delegate from Pennsylvania and a member of the Committee on Permanent Organization of the RNC. And so I'm really looking forward to reporting to you a couple of times from Milwaukee. But for now, that is the best 60-ish seconds of your week. And as we've done the last couple of weeks, a quick postscript for your enjoyment.
A non-basketball question. Did you get a chance to meet with the royal family? And if not, how was it like having them there in the building?
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph?
The Prince and Princess of Wales.
Oh, no, I did not. I'm only familiar with one royal family. I don't know too much about that one. Thank you.